Welcome to my Rock Island base model railroad. In this video, we're going to follow a northbound freight train from Kansas City toward the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul, and we'll observe the train complying with permanent speed restrictions during its trip. Before we get started, I need to briefly explain locomotive speed matching and throttle settings. I've speed matched my freight locomotives to a maximum speed of 50 miles per hour, and passenger locomotives are speed matched to a maximum of 60 miles per hour. So to understand how you keep track of what speed the train is actually going at, on my throttle, this is a Digitrax throttle, the locomotive is shown as locomotive 1203, and the throttle setting above 1203 is 80. And the way I have speed matched my locomotives with the Digitrax throttle is that the speed, the scale speed that the train's moving is 1/2 the throttle setting. So in this case, it would be moving at 40 miles per hour if it's a freight locomotive. And that is plus or minus 2 miles per hour accuracy. If you get within plus or minus 2 miles per hour, you're doing really good. Now for a passenger locomotive, I made up a card, and you can see that, for example, at a throttle setting of say 50, the speed of the passenger locomotive would be 30 miles per hour. In the example I just showed, for the freight locomotive at a throttle setting of 80, it was 40 miles per hour. You can see here that at a throttle setting of 83, for the passenger locomotive, it'll be 50 miles per hour. And that has worked very well to keep track of and kind of understand the speed. I do use the AccuTrack speedometer to monitor and check the speeds. I use that during the speed matching, and I use it to actually then check the actual speed once the train's in motion if there's a need to check it. Let's take a look at the AccuTrack speedometer. So here's the AccuTrack 2 speedometer, and I've got a short freight train moving toward the speedometer right now, moving at a throttle setting of 50, so it should show about 25 miles per hour. It shows 23, again, plus or minus 2 miles per hour. A lot of times it has to do if the engine's not warmed up, maybe dragging a little bit, but I can't emphasize enough the accuracy of plus or minus 2 miles per hour is plenty accurate. If you try to get more accurate than that, you'll kind of drive yourself crazy on the speed matching. But anyway, that's the speedometer. I've used it on a number of occasions. It's very accurate, gives you a good scale speed for your locomotives. On my layout, I have 5 permanent speed restrictions that when I operate trains, I comply with those speed restrictions on the layout. For the train that we're going to operate today, the northbound train, that train will go through 4 of the permanent speed restrictions as it makes its way from Kansas City to the Twin Cities. So let's take a look at those restrictions and how they're noted on the fascia of the layout. So just to give you an idea of how the speed restrictions are marked on the fascia of the layout, you can see on the left side P60 F50, that's passenger train 60 miles per hour, freight train 50. And at this particular location at Clear Lake Junction, when the train is moving from left to right in this scene, the train needs to be down to 30 miles per hour in order to cross the crossing diamond here at Clear Lake Junction. And the crossing diamond is where the main line crosses the Iowa Terminal Railroad. So the fascia is properly marked so that you can know where to begin and end the restriction. And then on the layout itself, I do have speed restriction signs marked. In this case, this is the release sign that would let the train know it can go back to 50 miles per hour for a freight train, 60 miles per hour for a passenger train. And then coming in to the restriction for the crossing diamond at Clear Lake Junction, you'll see the 30 mile per hour speed restriction sign. Okay, it's time to follow the northbound freight train, so here we go. It's slowly pulling out of the Armadale Yard in Kansas City. He should be doing about 10 miles an hour. We'll get the AccuTrack speedometer here and we'll check his speed in just a second. He's rolling by the Armadale Yard office right now. He's got a short train today. We've got the AccuTrack speedometer. We'll see if his speed is right around 10. Goes 11 miles an hour, close enough. He's just heading out onto the main line at Kansas City, leaving Armadale Yard. First speed restriction is a 35 mile per hour for the curve at Trenton. I've got the throttle setting at 70, so it should be 35 miles an hour. Let's see what the speedometer says as he goes by it. 34 miles per hour, so close enough. And that slow order is for the turnout in the curve. Now we're out in some open running, so he's going to be doing, got 99, should be doing about 50 miles an hour, right at 50. He's in northern Missouri right now, so there's just some open, fast running allowed. As we come into Des Moines, Iowa, we've got a head-end restriction, throttle setting 50, so he should be doing 25. Speedometer shows 25. This is a head-end restriction only through the station area at Des Moines. And you can see that passenger train number 18, that's the northbound plainsman, is in the station right now, stopped, handling passengers. So this 25 mile per hour restriction is just for the station area. Once the head end of the train gets to the other end of the restriction, which is right here, he can resume speed back to 50 miles per hour. Of course, passenger trains can operate up to 60 miles per hour past this restriction. Now that we've left Des Moines, the northbound train is out in the open, able to do some more fast running. Throttle setting of 80. Should be a speed of about 40 miles per hour going through Shipley, Iowa. 42. We're pulling into Nevada, Iowa. We've got a red signal, so our northbound train is going to be making a stop here at this red signal. There's a freight train southbound that's making its way toward Nevada, and we're going to have to sit and wait for the southbound to clear. Our southbound train is now entering the siding at Nevada. The next restriction here is in Nevada. Over the switch in the curve, speed throttle setting 70, speed 34. This is the north switch at Nevada. We've got a chance for some more open fast running between Nevada and Iowa Falls. Got a throttle setting of 90, so we'll see what kind of speed shows up on the speedometer here. .45, just like it should be. Next speed restriction is 30 over the diamond here at Clear Lake Junction, 60 on the throttle setting. .28 on the speedometer. The northbound freight train is going to meet southbound passenger train number 17 Plainsman at Albert Lea, and we're going to head north of Albert Lea just a little ways to catch the passenger train running at track speed. Throttle setting 99, so the speedometer should show 60 mile an hour plus or minus 2. Take a look. This is jointed rail at this location. We've got our northbound freight train pulling into the siding here at Albert Lea, and the passenger train number 17 is just pulling into the station for its station stop at Albert Lea. So it looks like we've made a pretty good meet. The passenger train will stop and discharge passengers, pick up some new passengers, and then it'll be on its way south. We'll catch one last shot of the northbound freight train making its way toward Minneapolis-St. Paul and Inver Grove Yard. On the same stretch of bolted rail that we caught the passenger train running at full speed, 60 miles an hour, we're going to catch the freight train, the northbound freight train, rolling along at full speed, 50 miles an hour on this bolted rail. Northbound freight train's not too far from Inver Grove Yard. Let's catch one last shot of our northbound train passing the Inver Grove Yard office and entering the yard track here at Inver Grove, where the train will be put away and switched. The cars will be switched out. Thanks for watching.